Another Thursday, another episode. Welcome back, Broken Boney, hosted by yours truly, AJ Metzen. I'm excited to be here as always. Had a great 2 weeks, got a lot of content for this episode. Some is funny, some is real. That's how I am. A little weekly recap we're doing. It's the last time I'm going to talk about this topic in specific. Is the Boston Celtics knocked off the Toronto Raptors in Game 7. I'm extremely happy. I was a little bit over the top in my celebrating, but I don't really care. I deserved it. I had my fate, my pride on the line. I was going to have to go into hiding. My friends were all over my ass. All 10 of them were just texting me nonstop throughout the game thinking they're going to win. I got the last laugh. They all kind of went quiet. It's a good time to be me, I would say. Now, Game 5, they are down 3-1. It's not looking great. We got hope. That's that. Go Celtics. You know where I stand. I had my birthday weekend. So 2 weeks ago, the 12th, I turned 23. Jordan year, big flex. It was a fun weekend. We had a blast. So Friday night, the game actually ended at midnight. So I got hate texts and birthday texts at the same time, which was awesome. Couldn't have asked for a better birthday gift. We went to a bar with a couple friends. Obviously met the social distancing limit of 10 people or whatever it was. Not that 10 people want to hang out with me anyway. But we went to one of my good friend Leah's house. You've heard of her before, my marketing team. She put on an absolute insane little pre-drink party. She got me a wicked birthday cake. She got me a charcuterie board. Super Italian, super Nona. That's what we call her. She's awesome. She killed it. She actually she went to Subway and got my favorite sub. 3 different breads, cut it up. I got roasted for it because the subs are kind of boring, but I get the same thing every time. I'm not the type of person to I'm boring, I guess you could say. Like, I don't venture out. Like, if I like what I like, I eat it. If it fills me up, that's all I care about, especially if I'm on a budget. Okay, so don't judge me. They laughed. It was a good joke. We had a great time. Now, if anyone was to ever think I was self-centered, I don't consider myself centered. If you do, whatever. You're not going to want to tune in for this. So my best friend Jaden, he's in a lot of my story. Like, a lot of the stories I'll tell, past, present, the whole nine. He got me a wicked birthday gift. He got me a custom-made T-shirt with my pretty face right on the back, imprinted, and then he got my title right on the front. Super cool. Worn it nonstop. I'm going to rep it till the day I die. It's awesome. So shout out to him. I want to say a big thanks. A couple guys, my buddy came up from Ottawa, him and his girlfriend. We had a blast. Awesome weekend. Couldn't have asked for anything more, especially during these weird times. Coronavirus, COVID-19, pandemic season. With that, obviously school's back, like I said. And I'm not going to bore you with the traditional Zoom bullshit of how I'm doing and how the profs are doing. They're doing well. I'm honestly doing better than I would in my regular classes because usually my goal was during pre-COVID school was just to show up to class, mission accomplished, felt good about myself, didn't feel like doing much else. Unless my mom's listening, then I wrote an ample amount of notes, 15 hours in the library a week, studied my ass off, of course, the usual. But we have to have a little one-on-one conversation because if you're listening and you're one of these people, I need you to change the way you do. And you know what? People do shit their own way, but this shit, they can't fly. Not if I'm in the class. I bet you I'm speaking for all the rest of the students, okay? I can't be the only one when I say this. So, 8 a.m. class. Like I said, not a morning person, but I'm on time, okay? 8 a.m., got my notes ready. Profs there, we're doing our work, okay? 20, 30 minutes in the class. Timmy or Jimmy joins. And they're late. And what is the first thing so his name pops up on the screen? We all know he's late. We're like, oh, wow, shocker. The same thing happened pre-COVID, the whole night. Jumps in the class. First thing he types in the chat, yeah, so I'm 20 or 30 minutes late. Do you think you could redo the whole lecture? And we're all like, are you, like, come on, man. Like, have a little fucking common sense. Like, there's other people other than you. And this is a valuable lesson my mom taught me early. If you can't say it in person, don't say it online. Because I know damn well this guy would not show up to class 20 or 30 minutes late, open the door. Everyone looks at him because when you're late, all eyes are on you. Prof gives you a little, dirty look. You sit down. There's no way in hell you're going to sit there, put up your hand when the prof calls on you and say, yeah, so I'm 20 or 30 minutes late. You think you could restart the whole thing. The prof doesn't want to be there any longer than she has to. I don't want to be there any longer than I have to. So don't ask, okay? I want to go back to bed. Have a little compassion for everyone else, okay? And the best part about all this, and she says it at the beginning, middle, end, sends announcements on Blackboard, it's all recorded. So even if you don't show up, you can still learn as if you were there on time, okay? Common sense. So many people lack it, and it blows my fucking mind. And I'm passionate about it because every week it happens, every friggin' class. And speaking of that, we have one individual, won't obviously not say any names. I don't know what her deal is, like if she's like in Walmart, like it's sitting in the back of Walmart doing these classes, and if she is, respect to her. But if she's at home, I might lose it. Okay. Every single class, this girl's audio cuts out at some point of time, like once or twice a class. And I'm about to call Rogers, Bell, Shaw, whoever the hell she's with. I'm like, you need to straighten this shit out because I want to go back to bed. Okay. I don't need the prof dealing with every tiny issue that 1 out of 45 people have. We're a small class. Like, yeah, so 30 or 45 students, it's not bad. But when one person has an issue and the prof, like reading the chat, like I will never falter because I have self-diagnosed ADHD, and you're like the chat's going 100 miles a minute. You can't like put your hand up or anything. It's pretty much just type as you go. Feel free to say whatever you want. And half the shit, it's like LOL when the prof says something funny. We're like, okay, you know what? Suck up, relax. Okay. We know you're trying to get a better grade, but just study instead of, typing LOL at literally every second word the professor says. So like I said, the chat's going 100 miles a minute. So she's reading it and she stops for everything. God bless her soul. She's trying to work out everything. Here's what you do. Here's a tutorial. If you're one of these students that interrupts the class every time your audio cuts out, this is what you can do. Either A, Google it. Okay. Type in Blackboard Collaborate, audio cutting out. Okay. Turn up your headphones for one. That's another one. There's B. And see if you're still stuck where your Wi-Fi comes. It's a big modem. It's a big box. You can't miss it. Unplug the back. Okay, wait 10 seconds, plug it back in. You'll miss 5 minutes of class. Okay, 5 minutes, I promise you, no more. Stop interrupting the class for every small issue. I want to go back to bed. I don't want to be here any longer than I have to. I preach it every single episode. Like, figure it out. Okay, there's a ton of technology issues. So you know what? It's only week 2, week 3. I don't know what the hell we're in. We'll cut some people some slack, but if it continues on, I might lose my mind and just wait for the recorded class because there's no way in living hell am I going to deal with this. Speaking of technology and the whole industry or whatever the hell it works and how crazy it is, Twitter and Instagram last couple of weeks have been popping off about this show, The Social Dilemma. It's all about social media and like X, Facebook, Tinder, Pinterest, like Twitter, the whole nine. All these like people that used to work big ups in there, used to like work there, and I don't know, for whatever reason they left, and now they're basically just exposing the hell out of these companies, which I don't think is wrong. Okay, so I don't want to spoil it, but basically they tap into however they make you addicted to social media, and they make it seem like for every single person there's like one designated individual that controls every social media app you use, your phone, how to hook you, get you addicted. Here's what I'll say. People say like caffeine or nicotine's the most addictive drug, by far social media, and I'm a victim to it. I'm not saying I'm some anti-social media guy, like I'm nothing. I got it all. I use it very frequently, probably more than I should, especially during this, because I'm either playing video games, doing schoolwork, or I'm on social media for the most part. I'm hooked on it, but that's also where I read this. And it's basically like we all knew what was going on. We just didn't want to believe it. So now that these people that are coming from these companies are exposing the hell out of them, we're like, oh yeah, shit, it's real. And the whole message, that one of the main messages I took away, and I don't know if you guys knew this already, probably, social media is not good for your mental health. You don't, with the filter on when you're taking a Snapchat, you don't actually look like that in real life. But some people, I don't know, it's not good for your mental health. So if you have poor mental health, social media is probably not the place to go. I don't want to spoil it. Watch it. It's super insane. But like the whole thing, Facebook's always under fire. And I don't know what my algorithm is with these social media apps, but I have 40-year-old mothers nonstop complaining about it. So for example, privacy, Facebook, the whole ordeal. Okay. I go on there and I got people complaining about, their credit card got hacked. Why the hell is your credit card on Facebook, Karen? Okay, here's the issue. The issue at hand here is you're buying gems to upgrade your farm to make your cow look friggin' sweet. And in the meantime, there's people just tapping into that shit, grabbing credit card numbers and spending exuberant amount of dollars. You don't need your Farmville account that bad, okay? You're 40 years old, figure out a new hobby. I'm going to be honest with you. And it's probably a little harsh, but it's true. It's like she's like, the 4th time my credit cards got hacked. This is the 4th time I've had to order a new credit card. Well, maybe take your credit card off Facebook and you won't have that issue. It's common sense. Some people lack it, like I said. And to be honest, it's probably half the time just their grandson buying porn and blaming it on those Indian men that spam you in your DMs saying, be my sugar baby, all that creepy shit, that funny shit you see nonstop. Any female on social media has seen it at one point or another. But it's probably just their grandson buying porn. I mean, let's be honest. They just don't want to admit it. And they don't want to blame their sweet little old grandson and ever think that he's doing such a thing. So they just go on Facebook to rant about it. And that's the best part. They go on Facebook to rant about Facebook. Like the common sense there is if you really hate it so much, delete it, okay? There's still ways to talk to your family. There's a phone. I know, super old school, a phone. There's other ways to keep them informed. And yes, it's super good, but there's also negatives. Like everyone thinks that social media was meant just to be good. And if you do, you're delusional. You always have to look at like the negatives. You can't nothing's ever just perfect. Okay. So yes, shit gets hacked. There's people that went to school for, what is it? Computer science. They went to computer science. They can do this shit no problem. Like your password can be 50 characters long. It's no problem. It's like a simple code. I don't know how it works. This shit's out of my league, and I'm not nearly as smart as that. But it's easy. Like if you're going to Facebook to complain about Facebook, like that seems like it's too negative. It's like, what's that really going to do? I mean, yeah, you're basically just feeding into their algorithm. You're like, well, I mean, they hate it so much, but they still use it. So what the hell's Facebook give a shit? Because I know I wouldn't. I mean, the best part, after all the bitching, whining, complaining, you go on there and they're updating their Candy Crush level. They're on level 697, like celebrating to their friends. All their friends are commenting like they didn't just complain 15 minutes ago that they're never using Facebook again and all their personal information is getting leaked. It's the best. One of my favorite stories about this whole Facebook privacy, social dilemma scandal shit is I remember reading this elementary school teacher, this 40-year-old elementary school teacher in America, shocker, greatest nation on earth, I guess. She goes on there to bitch about her students. Like they're picking their boogers and wiping them on the wall and they're not listening and they're getting into fights at recess. All shit normal kids do. Well, this lady who has a degree in education went on Facebook to bitch, like, I don't know, about how shitty her life is, I guess, making $60,000 a year teaching elementary school kids. I can't remember. She's miserable. Well, her Facebook got hacked and her privacy went from private to open. I don't know how it works. I don't use it that much. And like the parents found out, shocker, everything comes around. And she got fired. And she's like, well, I'm suing Mark Zuckerberg because my privacy. She's like, that's not privacy hacking as much as it is. It's just karma. I think that's what it is. It's just simply karma. I mean, you're 40 years old and you're going on there to complain about 13-year-olds, not even like 10, 11, 10-year-olds. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, you're a grown-ass woman bitching about little kids as if you didn't sign up to teach them. Like, you could have said no. You wouldn't. You thought they were going to sit in their desk and just be attentive and write down notes? Like, no. There's like 4 kids I can name in my elementary school that did that, okay? The rest of us were all little shits that caused problems, and that's probably the best part of elementary school. So it's karma. Like, you know what? Grow up. If you don't want shit going on the internet, don't post it. It's as simple as that. If you don't want people to see stuff that you wouldn't want them to see, don't put it on there. I mean, you got folders for everything now that, you know, you think everything's hidden, and it's not. Like, come on. Let's use a little bit of common sense. Let's wake up. Your shit's not that private. And it's probably going to get hacked. I mean, just basically think as if, yeah, it'll probably get hacked. So don't put your credit card on there for the 4th time to, you know, like I said, boost your farm bill account. Going into another topic, also on social media, the whole COVID outbreak, you know, it's popping off again. Stage 2 might go back. We might go into lockdown, the whole 9. You've probably seen it. But the people that are getting blamed right now, are the Western students. Western U, UWO, the greatest school in Ontario, according to them. I just said it as a joke. My sister goes there, believe it or not. Not a snob, great people. But they're getting blamed right now because they're like the sole reason the COVID cases are going up, as if it's not like a nationwide thing, right? So you're going on there. People are like, Westerns ruining everything for me. Like, I'm never going to be able to go to a bar again, blah, blah, blah. Like, bitching, complaining like everyone did for the last 6 months. Rightfully so. I mean, I'd be a little annoyed too. But here's the issue. You can't ask college kids to pay tuition at the age of 18 and be responsible. They're all living in res, which probably isn't the best thing in a pandemic. Like, put some blame on the school here. They open up residence. You can do it online if you really have to. From home. So they're bitching, complaining. Like, at no point was anyone at 18 in residence minus like 10 kids responsible, okay? The people like that are all over these Western students that are 18 years old, they're like my age, 24, 25, as if they didn't just graduate school 4 months ago, okay? And they're like, you know what? Like, it's so irresponsible. Why can't they just sit in their dorms and do nothing? It's like, okay, really? Like, I remember, you want to talk about responsibility? I mean, getting blackout drunk off Malibu and Red Bull at the age of 18 and then getting carried home by 2 guys that you met 20 minutes ago, wouldn't really call that responsible. I mean, it's different than a pandemic, but like, you can't preach responsibility at 18 if that's what you're doing. I mean, I wasn't no saint. Now, I told my mom, like I said earlier, I sat in my dorm room, I watched Netflix, I studied, spent the library, never went out once. Complete angel. But you know what? I had a couple slip-ups. I went out. You're 18, like, you're living on your own. What the hell do you expect? Like, let's have a little bit more common sense. The double standards here are ridiculous. Like any of us would have made the stupid mistake. So don't go on Twitter, start bashing fucking 18-year-old kids saying, they're idiots, blah, blah, blah. I think it's funny. I mean, regardless of them being in res or not, I don't think we're getting out of it anytime soon, but everyone wants to point the finger, everyone wants to blame. It's crazy. I mean, I'm mind blown by the whole thing. Personally, my opinion is they're gonna do dumb shit. If you don't want them to party, if you don't want them to have fun, like don't let them go into residence. I mean, that seems like a key issue. I mean, obviously there's those frat boys throwing like just ridiculous parties, which is completely unnecessary. But like, how are you gonna send kids to school and then expect them to just sit in their rooms? Like, that would suck. Like nobody wants to do that. You're paying, I don't know, whatever it is for tuition at Western. You're paying out your ass. Like obviously you want to have the Western experience, which is post to your Instagram story that you go to Western, post that you have notes and textbooks that say Western, and party like you're at Western. Because everyone knows Western people like to have London in general, London, Fanshawe, Western, the whole nine. They like to have a little bit of fun. So stop shitting on them, you know what I mean? Like, you're not as responsible as you think you are. I mean, all summer you were going out with your friends. Just because you didn't catch COVID doesn't mean you were like fucking perfect Pete, okay? So that's my rant for the day. We're at 17 minutes already. That's beautiful. I literally can't believe that I can just go on and then all of a sudden look at the time and I've already wasted so much of yours. But I mean, obviously you're listening, you like tuning in. It's going to wrap up episode 4, Broken Boney. Again, available on all major streaming platforms. Review it if you can. I'd really appreciate that. I'd like to know how I can get better. But enjoy yourself. Have a safe weekend. Be responsible. Thanks for tuning in. Love y'all. See you in 2 weeks.